All right, in this lesson on Blender versus the industry standard, I wanted to look at the basic element of just creating primitives. Okay, obviously that's kind of a fundamental, important first step of any modeling project. So let's get right to it. I'm going to compare how to create primitives in Maya, then how to create primitives in Blender, and then at the end of the video I'll kind of give my 2 cents and say what I like better, what I feel like is more efficient and faster. So let's get right to it. I'll go ahead and start with Maya. So in Maya, I would just go to Create, Polygon Primitives, and then I can choose my primitives here. Okay, so if I go to Create Polygon Primitives Cube, it appears at the center of the screen. If I create something else, I see that it is at the center of the screen, and if I move that off to the side, I can see that there's the other one. Okay, now if I didn't want it to appear at the center of the screen, I could go like this, Create Polygon Primitives, and then I could turn on Interactive Creation. And I think this might be on by default. So if I go like that, if I have Interactive Creation on, now if I choose Cube, notice it doesn't appear at the center of the screen. I can click here, and then I can make it as big as I want, and as soon as I kind of determine that, now I can just drag up, and now I have my cube. So that's kind of cool. So it will appear wherever I am. So if I have a sphere, now I can just kind of drag like that, and you can see that they kind of appear. I can see that the sphere is at the center of the grid. I can see the cube is on the grid. Okay. Now, if I create something, let's say if I turn interactive creation off, and if I go to Create Polygon Cube, and if I want to alter like how many subdivisions it has, I can click over here on the channel box, and then right here under Inputs, I can change subdivision width, height, and depth. So if I do that, I can hide those, or I can highlight those things, and then middle mouse click and drag to the right, and you can see it'll update. Kind of, I can just kind of slide through different values there. And I could do one at a time, or I could just grab one, and I could do like that as well. Once you alter that, I wouldn't suggest like extruding on a shape and then altering this. You want to set that right away when you first create your object. Okay, I can see that they also have them on the shelves here. So I feel like if I click on that, it'll create a shape, and you can see that that'll appear right at the center of your scene. So that is how to create, polygon primitives. I can see if I want a NURBS primitive, I would go here and I would click on that. And if I also wanted to create a NURBS primitive, I can click on this, and then I can see the NURBS primitives here. And to differentiate it, you can see that they make them blue, and then here they make them orange to try to make sure that you don't kind of get confused with the two. I feel like it can be kind of confusing because you can see, oh, a sphere, cube, and cylinder here, and then sphere, cube, and cylinder here. Again, they try to differentiate with the orange, but I feel like there are some different types of primitives there. I mainly stick with the polygon primitives, and for what it's worth, I normally have interactive creation turned off when I'm working with Maya, but you can have it on if that's something that you'd like. One kind of trick that you could do, let's say if you wanted to get a primitive over here, I could click on an object and I could make it live. Okay, so if I click on this magnet to make it live, now I could go to Create Polygon Primitive, and let's say I turn on Interactive Creation and choose Cube. Now I can kind of go like this, and I can draw it right on the object. Okay, and it's going to work better kind of on these flat surfaces. And again, I have that live. So now I could go to Create Cube, again with Interactive Creation on. Now I'm kind of drawing right on there. So I can kind of get it to be where I want. Again, I feel like I hardly use that feature in Maya. I usually have stuff kind of go at the center of the screen, but just to kind of give you a few options there. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Blender. All right, so in Blender, it starts us off with a cube. I'll go ahead and just kind of delete that. And so One way that I could create is if I do Shift A, now the mesh right here, if I go to cube, it'll appear at the center of the scene. And if I want to change the subdivisions or anything, I can come down here and I can add, I could change the location, the rotation, that kind of thing. I also have options over here as well to adjust it. And obviously, I could move it, do whatever I want. I could just press G for grab and move it over here. And if I want to add another one, Shift A, and you can see that it comes up right away. Now, if I want to create a NURBS object, you can see that, yes, they're here as well. And let's say if I wanted to create a cylinder, again, that starts at the center of the scene. Now, that only starts at the center of the scene because the 3D cursor is at the center of the scene. So this is the 3D cursor. So if I do Shift right mouse click, I can see that the 3D cursor moved over here. Now if I create something, instead of at the center of the screen, it's going to go, or at the center of the scene, it's going to go at where that is. So if I do Shift A, and if I do torus, for example, I can see that that's right there. What's nice about that is I feel like I can get that to be at a very specific location if I want. So for example, I can go like this. I can select this cube. I can hit Tab to enter edit mode, and I can press 1 to enter vertex mode, and I can select that vertex right here. Now, if I do Shift S, I can say cursor to active. And what that means is that this cursor is going to go to that active selected point. And you can see that that cursor is now there. So that means that if I create a shape, Shift A, create a cube, that cube, the center of that cube is going to be where that 3D cursor is. So I feel like that 3D cursor, I feel like when you start with Blender, it's not like, oh, what is this annoying thing in the way? But once you understand what that's all about, it's nice to be able to kind of have that functionality. So I don't have to kind of default my primitives at the center of the scene. But if you like that interactive creation that Maya has, I can go over here and I can use these for my interactive creation. For example, if I go to add cube, I can go like this and I can just draw. You'll notice that the height of that cube that I made is sitting above the grid. The reason that it's sitting above the grid is that it's sitting at the height of the 3D cursor. So if I do Shift S, and if I say cursor back to world origin, now I can see that it's back there. Now if I drew, I can see that it's now sitting on the grid. Okay, it's at the same height as that 3D cursor. But I can do anything. So I could do a cylinder as well. I could do a sphere. And again, I can see that they're sitting on the grid as far as the height is concerned. Also, the thing with this is, let's say if I wanted to, when I go like this, it's automatically kind of being able to find the sides of the object. Okay, so I don't have to make this object live. If I'm using this interactive creation, it just kind of finds it automatically. So I feel like that's a really nice kind of feature. You can see, I can actually see on my preview here that it's going to come out kind of on that obscure angle right there. So obviously a very kind of important starting point as far as our objects are concerned, and we can create them several different ways. This is basically following the idea of, hey, it's going to be at the 3D cursor point of view. What's nice about that is I can alter my 3D cursor to be in a lot of different areas once you kind of get used to the 3D cursor. Or I can use the interactive creation method like I just demonstrated. So I feel like if I had to choose between how Maya is handling primitives and how Blender is, I would give my thumbs up to Blender. I feel like it's more user-friendly. I think that I love the fact that I don't have to make these objects live. I love how I can just kind of interactively make stuff happen. I also like the added functionality of that 3D cursor. I think having that and the ability to kind of move it Actually, when I'm modeling, I find myself using that quite a bit to make a primitive appear where I want it to. It just feels a little less clunky than Maya. So again, thumbs up to Blender here. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also share this video, and I will see you guys next time.